Well, America is in a tough position as multiple Democrats, radical Democrats, have taken over major positions in our countries, especially of large cities. Not just that, but there's also still questions around the food stamps that I want to clear up because apparently I was not clear enough. So I want to make all my beliefs clear on that. And there's a lot of conservative infighting going on right now, all very important, incredibly important stuff. And I will see you all on the other side. So New York City is gonna sink now. It's gonna lose all its American values. What makes it so unique? We basically just dropped the major economic center of our country to a Muslim who does not uphold Muslim values, and he basically pulls the card when it's convenient. That's basically how it works. We've seen this multiple times, just on his rallies on the campaign trail, and it's kind of ridiculous that this guy was elected. But here we are. We saw it coming. New York was not letting up. New York has been really invaded by people that are not American, and so he wins. His same party, his same religion, kills LGBTQ members. The same people that Mamdani associates with, Muslims, they literally kill LGBTQ members, and yet this guy obviously wants your tax money going to gender affirming care, things like that. So it's kind of stupid. And how this is not seen through, I can't believe. The fact that nobody saw this coming, at least those that were voting for him. How are the people voting for him? How did they not see what this would become? But here we are, and it's going to happen, and hopefully they will learn a lesson through this. I know that one of the greatest teachers is failure. You mess up, and then you learn the consequences, and you realize, I don't want to do this again, and this has been true time and time again in America, because America is an experiment. We talked about this multiple times, and it's just the truth that America is an experiment. It was called the Great Experiment. We did something no one had ever done before with a republic, and we basically, we were the only republic at the time. And that's what made us so great. So we can make mistakes, we can rebound from those mistakes, and that's the good side, and I hope that's what we do. But Mamdani is basically a democratic socialist. That's what he calls himself, which is communism, by the way, in case you were wondering. In case you were curious, free buses, free groceries, free rent. So incredibly communist, and you wonder why it says free when it's not free. We all know it's not free. You're going to be paying for it. Okay, you're going to be paying for it, but it's going to look free. It's going to look free. It's a facade. He won over Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Lewa. Cuomo was running after as an independent after losing the primary, and then Curtis Lewa was the Republican. Mamdani secured over 1 million votes. He is also making history as the first Muslim mayor of New York City. Cuomo and Sliwa combined did not even pass Mamdani's total. So, just to give an idea of how the votes went. I think the biggest issue here is that we have a guy who's not even proud of America, is an American mayor of New York City. So, this guy literally pulls out different languages all the time. Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire made a really good point. He said that people should not be allowed to run if their campaigns are in different languages. So if they're speaking different languages, Americans should be able to understand the people running for American offices. So you should be speaking English because you're running for an American office. Don't run in America if you're not going to speak the American language, which is English, which is a good point, because as an American voting, you need to know what your candidate is saying, okay? And that is the big issue with not knowing, okay? Because I know you feel special, I know you feel inclusive when they say some words you don't understand, and it's like, I gotta vote for that guy because I'll probably look really bad if I don't. No, you just gotta go with it. You gotta go with what you know is the truth, okay? And don't worry about inclusion or any of that garbage. Just literally focus who's the best candidate, who's not. And that's how you got to vote. You got to vote based on morals. You can't vote on anything else. He did say something about seeing the dawn of a better day for humanity. For New Yorkers, that just got farther away, okay? They've elected someone who literally take all their money, give it to illegals, rob their religion, he'll take their homes, and give those to people who shouldn't even be there, okay? We've seen this so many times in, like, sanctuary cities. People who don't belong in our country are getting things that people who are citizens are not receiving. Like, literally, veterans are not receiving these things. Yet, we are okay with illegal immigrants getting free rent, okay? Free places to live, free food. They should not be getting these things. They do not have those rights. They are illegal. They are illegal, not American. Not allowed to have those things. Not allowed. Do not waste American taxpayer money on things that aren't even American. Like, what on earth are you doing? And this is who New York City has elected. They've elected a communist. And let me explain it to you, because I know free things sound great, okay? Okay, free buses, free groceries. Free groceries sounds amazing. You're still paying for it. You're still paying for it. When communism says we will make everyone equal, right? We're going to make those rich people pay higher taxes so that you can, the few wealthy, we're going to make them pay high taxes. This is why communist countries don't really have just like a big upper class. No, the upper class actually is what feeds the lower class. Because the upper class, they employ the lower class. They give jobs to the lower class, and the lower class can slowly work up and make their way to middle class and to upper class because of hard work and dedication. That's what capitalism does. That's its ideals, and it works. We've seen it because that's what America runs on. It's supposed to run on capitalism. When you take communism, no one is actually allowed to advance. So let me put it in these terms. This is how communism works. All right, we have the upper class, we have the middle class, we have the lower class. We want everyone to be equal, right? Because we're whiny baby, and we don't really want to work hard. Obviously, this is super, like, drawing to the younger generation. That's why Mondani ran a lot on that. They see free, and they immediately think that's what I'm going for. But here's the issue. The way you get free is by taking from the rich, who are feeding you, by the way, because you're being employed by them. So they're going to pay you and give you a job so you can sustain yourself. But when you take more from the rich and you start dispersing it to everyone becomes equal, but equally poor. So they don't become like equally well-to-do. Everyone just becomes equally poor because you can't evenly disperse wealth like that. Okay? You have to work for your wealth, and you have to produce to receive, okay? So I have to produce whatever it is my job is, so I may receive. So I can receive income, okay? Things like that. So communism totally destroys that. And so it sounds really good on the outside, but when you actually dive into it, communism is what rots the economy. Because communism is basically, it's an entitlement program. That's what it is. And the worst part is that it has failed so much that even, for example, China, who ran on communism, now has to implement capitalistic ideas so that their economy doesn't sink. And they realize that. Xi Jinping realized that, okay, straight up communism does not work. It fails over and over and over again. So I'm going to implement some free enterprise, some private property to make things kind of work how they're supposed to. That way it'll look good on the outside. Wake up. You just voted in a communist into the massive trade center of the world. And I just proved communist ideals fail every time. Just look at countries that run solely on communism, and you're going to see how they fail. They fail. So again, he should not be in there. Should not be in there, but he is. Trump already said he's going to send the bare minimum of funds necessary. As president, he will do his duty, but he will not be sending any more than that, which I totally understand. They elected their worst enemy without even realizing it. This should never have happened. But hopefully God will teach a lesson through this, and the people will understand their flaws and try to fix it in the future, so we're not having these same problems again, because we keep having them. And when are you going to realize, that this hurts more than helps? He said that the future is in their hands. It's despicable. It's not. This was kind of a new Mamdani we saw in his victory run. I'm going to show a clip. This is one we didn't really see on the campaign trail. He's like the vicious. He's like incredibly screechy too. He seemed almost violent, But I'm just going to play this clip for y'all so y'all can see basically what I mean. This is him. He was celebrating his brand new victory lap, basically. Guy just won mayor of New York City. This is him talking basically how he's giving it back to the people who've been working super hard. Check this out.
For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater.
So interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. And I must say that here's the unfortunate part about all this, is that he's not really he's not doing. Okay, let me try to just break this down, because this is a guy, in the same speech, he talked about taking from the small, rare upper class and giving to everyone else, making everyone equal. And here's the thing, he's upper class. Like, he has never felt what he just described. The way he calloused hands and warehouse and riding on delivery bikes, he never went through any of that. He does not know what that's like. And he's pulling the same trick Kamala pulled, the same trick Gavin Newsom has tried to pull. Okay, it's where you basically, you try to create this false, like, identity that you have been through things that are harder than you actually have been through. You can clearly see how the big issue that we have is someone putting on a false facade just to seem a little more relatable to the average Joe, which he obviously doesn't, and it's a trick, and you're gonna fall in like it. And in the middle of his speech, he randomly starts mentioning people from different countries, saying thank you to this, thank you to the abuelas and all this stuff. Like, this is America. Thank the Americans that let you in. Like, not the illegals and the Muslims, all these people that voted you in. Like, don't thank them. This is America. You ran for an American office now. Be proud of America. At least be proud. At least be proud of it. But he's not even proud of America. Like, that's literally who was voted in. So, there you go. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger, she's a Democrat, won the Virginia governorship by a sizable margin. She's a former CIA member. A more affordable loss, I would say, than Mondani in New York. However, it's still unfortunate. I mean, these are still the people that won, trans guys and girls sports, and they're going to have high crime and all this stuff. So, high taxes, too. Like, this is what you're getting into with all this. Mickey Sherrill, also New Jersey governorship. So, again, Democrats, big wins for the Democrats lately in these elections. We'll see how this continues to play out. Again, not a good day. Not a good day for America. This was hard. We saw a lot of people that will damage, because somehow we missed the message. When I talked about electing the left last time, I talked about that. I said, what would happen when you elect the left? And I pointed out the issue with electing the left is that you'll just create a massive Portland or a massive Los Angeles, just all over. And that's the problem. SNAP payments are being entirely halted as we wait for the shutdown to end. Apparently, my views on the food stamps were not clear enough. I released a short, obviously, from my last episode, and there was some debate around it. Basically, the person who disagreed with me was saying that, of course, they're buying the cheap stuff because it's cheap. And they want the dopamine spikes that the candy offers. That's why they would do it. And I already said that. Okay, so no, first, so each person is getting $190. So if you have 5 people in the household, that's 190 times 5. So that's almost $1,000. That's almost $1,000 just for food for 1 month. Plenty. That's plenty of money just for food. So they do not need to be. They can at least buy decent food. So again, totally with Trump on this. This is an unnecessary amount of money being spent on trash. We can see how Trump would possibly want you to spend your money on better things. And I said, apparently, I said in the comments, while talking to this person, I said, leeches. I use the term leeches to describe the people that are basically sucking money when they don't need it. People that are taking our taxpayer money when they have a full-time job, when they're actually comfortable, they actually don't need SNAP. And he got really mad, and he just generalized it, which is a fallacy. You can't just generalize an argument. Took it out of context. So I got a little confused. I was like, okay, slow down. I'm not calling everyone leeches, I was calling the illegals and the people that don't need SNAP, that are using SNAP, leeches. Those are the leeches. He got really mad. He started attacking my Christianity, said I was not a real Christian. And so I was just sitting back. I was like, okay. I just tried to bring valid arguments to the table. My stance on food stamps, so everyone can know. Okay? I see it as food stamps are a good thing, help those that are unemployed, but if you can afford food and you do not need the food stamps, you should not be on them. If you are illegal, you should not be on food stamps. And again, if you are on food stamps, they give you enough money to buy decent food. You don't need to buy junk. It's not for dopamine spikes. That's not why they're buying candy. They might as well just buy drugs. Like, seriously. So no, that's not how it works. Of course, I'm sure, I know there are people, like, I'm totally fine. I know there are people that are spending their SNAP correctly, and that's fine. That's good. That's what it's there for, to be spent correct. But I also know there are the people that are doing it incorrectly, and those are the people I'm against. So I just wanted to clear that up. Now I want to spend the rest of this episode on the controversy involving Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, and Ben Shapiro. So, for those of you who don't know, basically, I used to really love Tucker Carlson. I watched him on Fox News all the time. I watched him when he first went independent. And I was really into Tucker Carlson. But then he went crazy. And he left his kind of his niche. His niche was really solid. Like on Fox, he was great. I loved listening to him, very insightful. And they started getting into conspiracy theories, kind of with Candace Owens, and they just got weird. And then after Charlie Kirk's assassination, it was like, are these people just trying to make money off of his assassination? Like, what on earth? I was confused. So I was digging. And Tucker Carlson has gotten really close to, like, totally being okay with Hamas, totally being okay with Russia, Vladimir Putin, totally being okay with all these terrorists, okay? Totally being okay with that. But why on earth are the Republicans and conservatives, like, fighting so much in between each other when our big cities are dropping to these socialist candidates? Like, how is this going to help our cause at all? So I did some digging, like, what is this controversy? I want to bring it to y'all super clearly so everyone can understand what's going on. So here's a little background. Nick Fuentes, he's a white nationalist and self-proclaimed anti-Semite, okay, so against Jews. He denies the Holocaust. He praised Adolf Hitler, saying that he was cool. He was cool. He was a cool man. He has expressed misogyny, though not to the level, like, obviously that the left wants it to be, but he has also made extremely racist remarks. So he's been basically gaining a young following among, like, MAGA such conservatives who differ from older Republicans. And I do not like him. I'm just going to be straight up with y'all. I do not like him. We have right here a clip just so you can get an idea of what this guy is like. Let's play it.
Reason that we talk about this, by the way, I know a lot of black people see this and they go, man, why are you always talking about black people, this and that? Because there just needs to be some shame here. Well, there's a few reasons. First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
Okay, wow. Yeah. So this was actually, that was shown on the Ben Shapiro show, because Ben Shapiro, obviously in the middle of this fight, he was pointing out, he basically bombed it. Like, I cannot express how awesome Ben Shapiro was on this, because no, I don't agree with everything Ben does. I don't agree with everything, most political commentators do. Ben is not a Christian, he's a Jew, so there's a religious difference, obviously. At the same time, he still has an incredibly impeccable mind. He's a gift to society with his mind. He's incredibly gifted. And he just played clip after clip after clip after clip of Nick Fuentes basically stating his beliefs, and blatantly. And these are not good beliefs. All the beliefs I stated earlier were all validated. And I went back, I was checking this, I was making sure it's not out of context or anything. These are all good examples. This guy is scary. You cannot let the conservatives follow this man. He is dangerous to the movement that is conservatism, because conservatives are not people who were not misogynist. Okay, we're people who hopefully believe in the biblical standard, which is man is the head of the home, wife is the neck of the home. Basically, men should be the leader, the wife is the helper. We're not racist. We believe in the races. Obviously, there are races, everyone. But literally, dude, it's just like darker, lighter melanin. It's more culture than it is race. By a lot, actually. So, I don't like him. He's been against black people for a long time. He even defended the separate water fountains. He's like, it wasn't that bad. Everyone was fine when there was separated water fountains. Segregated water fountains. And I was just like, this is insane that this guy would say this. He denies the Holocaust like it never happened. When we have photographs, we have survivors, we have the actual concentration camps you can go to, okay, to look at, like literally denies it all. And it's insane, because we have so much proof that it happened, so much proof that 6 million Jews were slaughtered, yet he chooses to disagree. Why? Because he's anti-Semitic. This man is anti-Semitic. As much as he'll try to sugarcoat it, not make it sound so, he is anti-Semitic, and he's even owned it before. He is totally anti-Semitic. The worst part, in my opinion, is that he uses Christ's name like he's a Christian. He calls himself a Christian, but he is obviously wrong about how Jesus would do things. His language says that super clearly. The Bible says to go into all the world and give the gospel, not to destroy the people you don't agree with, which is what this man is clearly all about. Clearly all about it. And that's the most unfortunate part, and that's the sad part, is that he would align himself with Christians when he is not himself acting like one. And so it makes all the real Christians look bad, obviously. So that's unfortunate. Now, Tucker Carlson, I already kind of covered him. Former Fox News host, he's a prominent conservative commentator. He did a lengthy interview with Fuentes. It was 2 hours and a half about. He really avoided directly, challenging Fuentes. Really. I listened to the whole thing. He was so babied almost. I don't want this guy to get mad. I also don't want anyone else to get mad. I also don't want to show his beliefs, because if I show his beliefs, everyone will see that he's wrong. So I'll just hold back from that. And you really did not do a good job of interviewing. Obviously, as far as I can tell in my very small amount of experience interviewing, I did not think that was a good job, because I feel like he didn't cover the topics everyone actually wanted to hear. He kind of sugar-coated everything, which was another problem. But Carlson is the guy who basically refers to Republicans who are for Israel as having like a brain virus. So he clearly has something against Israel, and we've seen this for a long time. Same with Candace Owens. Candace Owens has said that if something happens to her, like she's assassinated, it's 100% Israel's fault. So, I mean, she said these things. And he said very akin things to that. Well, Ben Shapiro, obviously, now he's in the middle of this. And for a good reason. Because Ben Shapiro sees how this can destroy conservatism. It can destroy what good movement is happening. And this is not, don't associate this with the Republicans. Please, don't associate this with the Republicans. Don't associate it with MAGA, any of that. Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, these people are not real Republicans. Because real Republicans, real conservatives, stand for values that have been tried and true, and they stand for the peace in Jerusalem. Can Israel do wrong things? Yes. Nobody's perfect. At the same time, the conspiracy theories they have are not very well founded. And to be fair, like, I have listened to them a lot to get their side of the story, to understand what they're going at. But it feels like so far-fetched, and it's like random hate. I don't understand it, and I'm not for it. As much as I want Jews to come to Christ, whatnot, and I think religiously, Christ obviously is God, and I want him to come to that, I still want peace in Jerusalem. The Bible says to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, which Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, obviously have not done, are not doing, and yet they call themselves Christians, and the Bible clearly states that. So I think it's quite important that you look at these things. And Ben Shapiro, so he's a commentator. For those of you who don't know him, he's the founder of the Daily Wire. He criticized big time Carlson for what he did with Fuentes. He basically normalized, he talked about him normalizing Nazism and being an intellectual coward, which I agree with, because he was really softening Fuentes' hateful rhetoric, like, rather than confronting it. So Shapiro really, he did it well too. I mean, he went in there calmly, and he just stated fact after fact, which he is a boss at doing. He's a boss at stating facts. I want to play a clip for you all really fast. Ben Shapiro said something amazing that I totally agree with. This is how he closed out his episode on this whole Nick Fuentes Tucker Carlson thing. Take a look.
This is our country. This is our party. And this is our conservative movement. And I will not stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I have spent my entire life defending and advocating. That is a path to defeat and a path to moral oblivion. I reject it, because if we lose the right, we will lose to the left. And either way, we'll lose the country.
Wow, yeah. That's good. That is so good. Right there, because what he said is so big. Because he literally talks about, I will not give up what I'm doing. This is our conservative movement. This is our America. And someone who is going to ruin it with these Nazi ideology, someone who's going to ruin it, someone who respects Hitler, respects Stalin. He even stated that he respects Stalin. Someone who is for anti-Semitism, someone who is racist, someone who is just sick. I will not let him take over America. I totally agree. I cannot say it better than how Ben said it. I cannot say it better than that. And again, I don't usually side with Ben on everything. There are many things I disagree with or I would do differently. But on this, he is 100% correct and done totally perfectly. That was an amazing episode. If y'all haven't checked it out, go check it out. Ben Shapiro Show, amazing. That was an excellent episode. And I think he really brought it out so well. And now let's look a little bit at what was so wrong with the Carlson and Fuentes kind of talk interview that they had. Because here's the thing, just to prove a little bit more how radical and gross Fuentes is. Listen to who he says is the greatest impediment in all of America. Okay? Remember, what is America going through right now? Let's see, what he says is the greatest impediment.
What did you see as like the most important gatekeepers that needed to be overturned, pushed aside in order to do this?
It was the Zionist Jews.
The Zionist Jews. Those are the people. Those are the people that are the greatest impediment. They need to be taken out of the way. Really. Really, I feel like the Muslims, the terrorists that are invading our country, or maybe the illegal immigrants that should not be here, I feel like they're the worst. I feel like they are some of the worst impediments. But no, it is the Zionists. Genuinely, this is who we're going to go after. This is what I call not smart. Okay, there's big issues with this. Big issues because at the end of the day, this is what your enemies want. They want you to see Israel as the enemy. They want that because that is very good for them. When you go after Israel, you're basically just linking arms with them. And just like Tucker Carlson has called Hamas a political group and not actually like a full out terrorist regime, it's the same issue here. Israel is not the bad guy. Okay, stop doing that. Just stop. Stop doing that. Israel's not the bad guy. I know it's convenient for many of these people to say that, but Israel is not the bad guy. And of course, Nick Fuentes did not stop there. Nick Fuentes is now obviously horrible enemies with Ben Shapiro, right? And the Daily Wire basically tells his story to Tucker that, they were going to have him kind of go under Ben's wing, and then he started coming out more anti-Semitic and all this stuff, and they saw that, and they were like, okay, we don't like that, and so he totally just, left. And Tucker asks him, do you think you won? Let's check out his response.
I mean, and Ben Shapiro seems irrelevant to me now.
But back then, for
no,
the
I
young,
guess that's
he was
true.
huge. Mm-hmm.
So maybe you won.
Oh, certainly.
Maybe you won. Really? I don't think so. And here's why, because Ben Shapiro has a much larger impact than Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes is digging his hole because at some point people are going to see how disgusting this is, and people are going to see how idiotic his beliefs are. People are going to end up seeing how this could sink America should his ideology really enter. And people are going to see Tucker Carlson being okay with it, and that's where the boat's going to sink. We cannot allow this. This is wrong. This is bad for our country. We cannot allow this at all. And the biggest thing is when Tucker said, he's kind of irrelevant now. You can hear the bitterness dripping from his voice. He is not irrelevant at all. Ben Shapiro is still going strong. And in fact, so many conservatives that are for Israel, that are against racism, that are against misogyny, but still holding those right standards of men and women. Those people are still going strong, and those are the people that are in power right now. MAGA, that's who's in power right now. Trump. So say what you like, but you are not in power right now. And may you never be in power. May you never bring those deranged, dangerous ideologies into our government. May you keep them out. Turning Point USA going strong. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Let's get together. Let's make America safe, and let's keep it strong. I know not everything is great right now, but it could be a lot worse, and I think we're doing better slowly. Let's stay on track, stay focused, stop fighting in between ourselves, resolve these issues, and ultimately focus on the big things, what will move America forward, how we can heal from this last election cycle, and most importantly, what is true conservatism. And I will see you all in the next one. God bless.